Thank you, Maritza, for such a wonderful introduction. I am one of her grandfather's favorites because I'm the same age. And that's the reason why he feels that way. But no, it's wonderful to see all of you tonight. Thank you to the Williams family for inviting me. This is wonderful. I cherish the memories of Pat Williams as a congressman in this country, and I know what he meant to the people of Montana. And it's just a shining example of what service to government, service to the people should be. So thank you very much to all the Williams folks for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. And I do want to thank Lauren Wilson, too. Where's Lauren? Lauren is here. There's Lauren right there. Lauren wrote me into this. It was Maritza and Lauren. So if I suck, you have to blame them. It's all their fault. And also hats off to 100 years old. Oh my gosh. Wow. Can we do that one more time? I feel like really stuck. How sweet it is. The Smuckers thing. Judas Smuckers thing. Anybody remember that? All right, I'm being silly. I'm kind of in a crazy mood tonight. Is that okay? Are you guys ready for something, you know? I got a little bit of that something I used to bring to the press room every once in a while as Maritza was laying out to you. And I should note, I am nowhere near the coast right now. There's no ocean close by. I did see a river. Maritza was mentioning, there was that river fest, and I did go along the river, and I saw some river surfers. I did not know that they surfed in rivers, but apparently they do that here in Missoula. Now, I just want to make sure, though, that because we're far away from the coast, nobody brought any seashells with them tonight. Did anybody bring any seashells? You know this now. I have covered him for more than a decade. I've been to hundreds of Trump rallies, speeches, press conferences, you name it. I was at the White House on January 6th when Trump and his forces tried to overturn a free and fair election. And I remember walking around the White House that day looking for an official to explain what the hell was going on, and nearly all of them were gone. They had scattered like cockroaches. A lot of this started during the 2016 campaign, when Trump started attacking the free press in America with the kind of language, like Maritza said, we had never heard from presidential candidates before. You might remember, he called me fake news. He later called me the enemy of the people. Back in those days, we in the White House press corps tried to warn the president and his team that this kind of language can be dangerous. But our appeals for decency fell on deaf ears. That's because he figured out calling us the enemy of the people worked pretty well with his people. Yeah. And there was this one trip to Montana, right before the midterm elections in 2018. At that rally, the president praised Greg Gianforte. When he was in Congress. Anybody ever heard of that guy? Isn't he the governor or something like that? Where is Greg? Is Greg here tonight? Where's Greggy? Did Greggy show up tonight? His claim to fame at that time was that he once body slammed a journalist. And then, remember that? A man named Ben Jacobs. He was a friend of mine. He is a friend of mine. And if he wants to try that shit, I'm right here. He can just go on. You try to body slam this guy. Try that one. But Trump was whipping that crowd into a frenzy, and he declared that Gianforte was his kind of guy. I remember the crowd went wild, they cheered and they laughed, and I did look over to this group of young men, and one of them had, done one of these things across his neck like he wanted to slit my throat. And at these rallies, and the reason why I'm laying this out is because, this is the world that we know today. We were called scum, traitors, and worse. The atmosphere was so intense, we often had bodyguards. Sometimes we had to run back to our cars after the rally was over to make sure we were safe. It didn't feel like America anymore. And maybe I'm old-fashioned, but the way I feel, you don't treat your fellow Americans that way. You don't treat your fellow human beings that way. And what happens nowadays? Listen, I try to warn everybody. Now Trump calls reporters piggy. You see this? He calls reporters piggy and stupid and so on. I got to tell you, if I were in the White House press corps today, I'd have some questions. Oh, I'd have some questions, ladies and gentlemen, such as, who are you calling piggy? Who are you calling? Do you think that you, Donald Trump, should be calling other people piggy? Piggy. It's just a question. Now, and how do you pronounce Iran? I say Iran. Maybe it's Maybe he pronounced it Iran as in Iran up your gas prices, you know. Those would be some questions. Those would be some questions I might ask. But in all seriousness, this Trump toxin that has been injected into our political discourse has been spreading throughout our nation's bloodstream for more than a decade now. Our kids and our grandkids, this is the part that pisses me off the most. They are now soaking up this culture of bullying and intimidation as this poison now courses through America's social media platforms. And the man at the center of it all, he has his own toxic social media platform. Perhaps you've heard of it before. It's called Truth Social. You know, an Orwellian name, you might say. You probably saw the other day where he posted an image of himself as Jesus. Did you guys see that one? He thinks he's Jesus. And later he claimed he thought it was a doctor. He said it was just a picture of a doctor. Can you believe that? We saw all the memes of the doctors and that show, The Pit, they were all dressed like Jesus and so on. But can you believe that? I tell you, Jesus could turn water into wine. But Donald Trump, he turns truth into bullshit. Trump as Jesus? Are you serious? Trump doesn't walk on water. He can barely stay awake in cabinet meetings. He's churning out this garbage during the wee hours of the morning when a man his age or any age should be getting his rest. Perhaps that's why he is so sleepy. He has so much trouble staying awake. For a man who used to call Joe Biden Sleepy Joe, have you seen him lately? He falls asleep at these cabinet meetings. Have you seen the way he goes? He just his mouth's kind of drooping like this. I think there's a little drool there. Totally crazy stuff. And I'm just saying it's not a good look. And his social media antics are as appalling as ever. Consider some of his posts from just in the last month when Trump threatened to wipe out Iran's civilization. You saw that one. He repeatedly lies still about the 2020 election, despite the fact that he is president now. He issues threats about what he might do this time around during the upcoming midterms. That's the scariest part of all. As one of his former top officials told me on my podcast just the other day, and I hope you watch that, it's called The Jim Acosta Show. I know, very original. But this official, Ty Cobb, not the baseball player, but a former lawyer for Donald Trump, told me on my show that just based on Trump's Truth Social account, the president is, quote, clearly insane. That is a quote from Ty Cobb, Donald Trump's former lawyer at the White House. Trump has slapped his name on the Kennedy Center. He wants to build a giant arch in front of Arlington National Cemetery. He's even trying to paint, have you guys heard this one? He's even trying to paint the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial blue. Have you seen this? Have you guys seen all this coverage? I did a whole video on this the other day. You can check it out. Totally normal stuff. Do you want to see Donald Trump in a bathing suit? Donald Trump in a swimming pool, that should not go in the city. They better use a lot of chlorine in that pool. I'm telling you, there's a lot of orange stuff in that swimming pool. It's been swirling around in there. Better have good drainage in that pool. And I haven't even gotten into the Oval Office and all that gold decor. Have you seen this stuff? All that gold shit everywhere. It's on the walls. It's all over the place. He's got these strange statues set up. And what used to be the Rose Garden, he's paved over the Rose Garden. It looks like Liberace and Saddam Hussein decided to do an extreme White House makeover. Forgive the Virginia boy in me, but that man ain't right. He ain't right. He ain't right. Which takes me back to the struggle with what I have decided to do with this stage in my career. For the longest time, I worked in places where we would both sides the news. One side says this, the other side says that. Here are the facts. Make up your minds on your own. It's a great system. On the news, I believe in objectivity and fairness, giving everybody a fair shake. I believe in the news. But I also believe this. There are not two sides to a story when it's a matter of right versus wrong. These days, I feel like delivering what I call real news. As in, let's get real. Y'all want to get real? You want to get real, Missoula? All right, let's get real. I'm tired of taking it on the chin. I've had people come up to me tonight, oh, I'm so sorry, this thing happened to you, it's terrible, it's awful. I'm tired of taking it on the chin. You guys tired of taking it on the chin? Yeah. You like to take it on the chin these days? I'm sick and tired of the lies and the bullshit and the insanity and the Jesus posts and the blue reflecting pool and all of that. I'm tired of all of it. After covering the news for the last 30 years at both the local and national level, I must report to you something that I never thought I would say to an audience. The American way of life is in danger. Nice lady I was just speaking with earlier this evening was saying, you know, I watch the news every day, and this thing happens and that thing happens, and puts his name on the Kennedy Center and he's posting pictures of Jesus. You don't get the big picture. You don't get the overarching message as to what is happening to our country right now. What is the American way of life? It's hard to describe, but I will take a stab at it. It's what that nice lady just said a few moments ago. It is our democracy. It is our ability to choose our elected leaders so we can realize the American dream and have a bright future for our kids and grandkids. What about our elections? Are we going to see ICE and American soldiers at polling places this fall? The defense or the so-called Secretary of War, I call him Secretary Axe Body Spray. He's got that little pocket square, the flag pocket square. And I think it's a lot of Axe Body Spray. It must get to his head. He was asked about this the other day. We're going to have soldiers at polling places. He didn't rule it out. Didn't rule it out. Is that America? Does that feel like America to you? What about our systems of checks and what about our system of checks and balances? Does it feel like we have those anymore? The Supreme Court gave Trump almost blanket immunity to do whatever he wants, and he's doing it. Project 2025, it's happening right now. He said, oh, I don't know what that is. I have no idea what Project 2025 is. It's bullshit. It's the game plan, it's the blueprint for what they're doing right now. The Supreme Court gave him that blanket immunity, he's doing it, and the Republicans who control Congress, led by House Speaker Mike Johnson, they've all but made Trump a dictator. It's not one party rule in America. It's one man ruling over everything. And that ain't right. It's no wonder the Atlantic magazine just the other day reported that Trump no longer puts himself in the same category. Did you see this? No longer puts himself in the same category as George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. He has his sights set on Napoleon, Julius Caesar, and Alexander the Great. I'm surprised Vladimir Putin wasn't in there. Our current czar of Russia. How about the media, our system for informing the public? The news, I hate to break it to you. I've got some breaking news tonight. The news is broken. The news is broken in America right now. I was talking with this gentleman about this right now. The newspapers have been devastated in Montana. And it's happening all across this country. Trump has cracked the code in how to hurt the press in America. He's not only extracted those big multi-million-dollar settlements from ABC and CBS, just the other day he bragged on Truth Social how he got rid of me and a bunch of other anchors and hosts, people like Stephen Colbert and Lester Holt and Joy Reid and Chuck Todd and Terry Moran. He claimed he somehow paved the way for one of the richest families in the world. Did you see this? The Ellisons, to buy both CBS News and CNN. They're going to give Fox a run for their money for Trump State TV. The same family also owns TikTok, that social media platform that all of our kids and grandkids are on all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, the oligarchs should not own the news in America. The news belongs to us, the people. The news belongs to the people, not to the oligarchs. So much of what makes this country special and precious and unique and fragile, all of that is in danger. It's in danger. And I don't know how else to say this other than to state it very simply and plainly, and this is based on my reporting that I have done as a White House correspondent and reporter covering politics back in D.C. around the world for decades, and that is to say this: the President of the United States represents a danger to American democracy and therefore to the American way of life. So what do we do about it? I describe it as the Great American Comeback. Just look at all these No Kings protests that are popping up all around the country. Very inspirational. It's wonderful to see all of that happening. People taking to the streets, making their voices heard. It's been amazing to witness. My friends, Don Lemon, Joy Reid, and I, we've done this combined coverage where we've taken over our YouTube and our Substacks and all of our social media channels to broadcast these protests from start to finish. Stuff you won't see on the corporate media, the legacy media today. I've been out there walking with the protesters. The corporate media doesn't do that. But that's why independent media is so important. We can deliver that kind of coverage because it is powered by the people. It is powered by you. And that is what we need right now. That is the injection that we need right now in our democracy. We need people power, sustained people power. And again, just want to prove, I'm letting it rip tonight, okay? You guys are okay with that. I got an endorsement. So letting it rip tonight. I came here to kick ass and eat steak, and I'm all out of steak, okay? I said, where's Greggy? Is he here? I got a bone to pick with Greggy. In addition to people power, we need a people's agenda. An agenda that takes care of people again, something I believe Pat Williams is all about. Something I think the people of Montana are all about. Trump is taking care of the rich and the powerful. He's lining his pockets with crypto and God knows what else from God knows where. What about the people? For starters, as I said, the American system of government, it is broken. We need reform across the board. Starting with that Supreme Court that gave Trump all of that immunity, that ruling needs to be overturned. Get that shit out of here. But it is not going to happen overnight. But a good way to reform the court is to place term limits on justices. Term limits on justices. No more lifetime appointments. Sorry, Clarence Thomas. Sorry, Clarence, you're going to have to load up the Winnebago and ride off into the sunset. And Harlan Crow, whoever his buddy is, who's paying for it, you can go to. While you're at it, maybe add some seats to the court. Why not? Nowhere does it say in the Constitution that the Supreme Court should be 9 seats. How do you like that, Mitch McConnell? Let's put term limits on Congress. Talk about lifetime appointments. I mean, there's so many members of Congress who think once they get elected, that's it, they're done. There was a time when maybe not having term limits was an okay idea, but these guys, they're bought and sold by K Street. Let's talk about, hey, if they're not going to use the 25th Amendment, if they're not going to impeach the guy when he's obviously batshit crazy and posting pictures of himself as Jesus, maybe we should have a recall option for the President of the United States. I'm just spitballing here. Let's talk about national health care. We talk about national health care. Are we going to talk about that? Am I going to get run out of town on a rail if I talk about national health care? Can we talk about helping young people in this country buy a home for the first time? The average age of a first-time home buyer in America is 40 years old. Are you fucking kidding me? What have we done to our economy? That is insane. We got to break up big tech. I don't trust him. Elon Musk, $250 million in the last presidential election? Go fuck yourself. Fuck him. Trying to buy our elections. Let's tax billionaires. Let's tax trillionaires. Can we please have some of that fucking money? Let's spend that money on retraining workers who are displaced by AI, making college and services for our seniors more affordable. What about, I see in the polls that, and this is one of my biggest disappointments, because I'm a Gen Xer. I see Gen Xers lining up to vote for Donald Trump. They love Donald Trump. One of the things that is going on with Gen Xers, and I'm sure there are some in the audience who agree with me, we have kids who are both in college, and we have parents who are heading off into retirement and need additional services and support. Why aren't we giving tax breaks to this generation of Americans who are, I would say, they're like the sandwich generation, right? This is the time when people need help on both ends of that spectrum. These are things that we should be doing for the people right now. Donald Trump has figured out, he has cracked the code on how to help the wealthy, the oligarchs, the billionaires of this country. It's time to solve that Rubik's Cube, to start helping real people who have real problems right now. It's more than just the price at the pump, and I know that's driving everybody insane right now. But we have to start thinking, in my view, We as Americans have to start thinking more intelligently, more creatively about how to solve these problems. And I bet you, I mean, I mentioned Donald Trump's poll numbers just a few moments ago. He's at 32%, something like that. People start snapping out of it when the poll numbers get down to 32%. They start to come out of that trance, that MAGA spell that he's put them all in. When the poll numbers are down to 32%, when the price of gas is getting close to $5 a gallon, people start to snap out of it. And that's the point where you have to start presenting ideas and policy proposals and new thinking to bring people in. From that side, I mean, I think it's possible. I think it's possible. And I wrote this in my book, and I put it outside if you guys want to pick it up. One of the problems that we have in this country is we have stopped believing in one another. We have stopped believing that we can work together as a country. And I know that sounds crazy. It sounds as batshit crazy as Trump posting about Jesus. But I still think we have to hold that possibility out there, that we can all work together as a country. I mean, I was telling some folks here earlier, I met with Jack Schlossberg, who's running for Congress up in New York, JFK's grandson. And he's 33 years old, and he just sat down in front of me and was talking about how, you know, we need to get back to that philosophy that the Kennedy family had. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. A rising tide lifts all boats. Thinking about the people, putting people first. And I think that it's possible to bring that back, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. But let me tell you something. I want to warn you about something. If we start talking about a people's agenda in America, people in power, they are not going to like that very much. The oligarchs are going to try to stop us. And even if they, and I'm just going to make it very clear, even if they send troops to the polling places, even if ICE is waiting in the parking lot when you go to vote, even if Trump claims it's all going to be rigged and the courts are going to be tied up in knots sorting out all the legal challenges to the results, do not let them stop you come this November. Do not let them stop you. Do not let them get in your way. You tell that officer with ICE, I'm going in there to vote, goddammit, and you can't take that away from me. You march right into that voting booth and you vote the bums out. I believe we are entering a decisive period in our history where we are now all in the fight. It's not about this group of people or that group of people or these folks over here. We are all in the fight for our civil rights, for our right to vote, our right to march in the streets, our freedom of the press, our freedom of speech. These are the stakes. And I don't think the battle in this country anymore is between right and left. I think it's between democracy and authoritarianism, backed by the oligarchs, enforced by modern-day fascists, and led by a president who doesn't see himself in Mount Rushmore. He wants to replace Mount Rushmore. Right now, the rich and the powerful, the oligarchs, are backing a man who is trying to shred the Constitution right in front of our faces. Take it from a man he once called the enemy of the people. I wear it as a badge of honor. Here I am. Here I am. Here I am. I don't see the press as the enemy of the people. I see us as defenders of the people. And that's what I want all of you to become. Defenders. Defenders who will send a message to Washington and to any politician, any president who represents a danger to our democracy and the American dream. And the message is, the great American comeback has begun. It's going to be powered by the people and by hope and the truth. We are not backing down. We are not giving into the lies. We are not giving into the fear. We are going to hold on to the truth and hope. 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 I'm not down to retirement. How about you? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.